Clay's Defeat by George Moses Horton. 'Tis the hope of a noble defeated, the aim of a marksman is vain, a wish of destruction completed, the soldier eternally slain. In winter succeeds to the summer, the bird is too chilly to sing, and music is played for the drummer, no carol is heard on the wing. The court of a nation forsaken, an edifice stripped of its doom, its fame from a pinnacle shaken, like the sigh-heaving downfall of Rome. Fallen is the chief of the witty, a prince of republican power, the star crown of Washington city, this Kansas political tower. The gold-plated seat is bespoken, the brave of the West is before, the bowl of a fountain is broken, the music of fame is no more. No longer a wonderful story is told for the brave Whig to hear, whose sun leaves his circuit of glory, or sinks on the light of his fear. Death of a favorite chambermaid by George Moses Horton. Or death where power I own, whose mission was to rush and snatch the rose so quickly blown down from its native bush. A flower of beauty doomed to pine, askance from this to worlds divine. Death is the joyful doom, the tears of sorrow dry, the rose on earth but fades to bloom and blossom in the sky. Why should the soul resist the Lord that bears her to celestial land? Then bonny bird, farewell, till hence we meet again. Perhaps I have not long to dwell within this compassed chain, till in Elysian shores eve meet, till grief is lost and joy complete. Death of an old carriage horse by George Moses Horton. I was a harness horse, constrained to travel weak or strong, for orders from oppressing force, push along, push along. I had no space of rest, and took at forks the roughest prong, still by the cruel driver pressed, push along, push along. Vain strove the idle bird to charm me with her artless song. At pleasure lingered from the world, push along, push along. The order of the day was push, the peal of every ton. The only word was all the way, push along, push along. Thus to my journeying's end had I to travel right or wrong, till death, my sweet and favored friend, bade me from life to push along. Death of General Jackson by George Moses Horton. Hark, from the mighty hero's tomb I hear a voice proclaim, a sound which fills the world with gloom and magnifies his name. His flight from time let braves deplore, and wail from state to state, and sound abroad from shore to shore the death of one so great. He scorned to live a captured slave, and fought his passage through. He dies, the prince of all the brave, and bids the world adieu. Sing to the memory of his power, ye vagrant mountaineers, ye rustic passions drop a shower of love for him and tears. He wields the glittering sword no more, the veteran's piercing eye chases to round the mountain hour, and gets him down to die. Still let the nations spread his fame, the marching from his tomb, aloud let all the world proclaim, Jackson forever bloom. No longer to the world confined, he goes down like a star, he sets and leaves his friends behind to reign the stead of war. Hark, from the mighty hero's tomb I hear a voice proclaim, a sound which fills the world with gloom but magnifies his name. Departing Summer, George Moses Horton. When auburn autumn mounts the stage and summer fails her charms to yield, bleak nature turns another page to light the glories of a field. At once the vale declines to bloom, the forest smiles no longer gay, gardens are left without perfume, the rose and lily pine away. The orchard bows her fruitless head as one divested of a store, or like a queen whose strain has fled and left her sad to smile no more. That bird which breathed her vernal song and hopped along the flowery spray, no silent holds the warbling tongue which defies the feast of May. And let each bitter have its sweet, no change of nature is in vain, 'tis just alternate cold and heat, for time is pleasure mixed with pain. Early Affection by George Moses Horton. I loved thee from the earliest dawn, when first I saw thy beauty's ray, and will until life's eve comes on, and beauty's blossom fades away. And when all things go well with thee, with smiles or tears remember me. I love thee when the morn is past, and wheedling gallantry's hour, when youth is lost in age's blast, beauty can escape no more. And when life's journey ends with thee, or when look back and think of me. I love thee with a smile of frown, which sows gloom or pleasure's light, and when the chain of life runs down, pursue thy last eternal flight. And though I spread the wing to flee, still a moment wait for me. I love thee for those sparkling eyes, to which my fondness was betrayed, being the tincture of the skies, till go when other beauties fade. And when they sink too low to see, reflecting the beam on me. False Maid, George Moses Horton. A thou art fair, dear lady fair, and let the scales be even, forbid the poising beam to rear and pull thee down from heaven. Dost thou desire to die in peace, for every sin forgiven? Give back my right, the weight decrease, a mount like mine to heaven. Rather give over to the poor, take 10 and give the 11, or else be fair, ask no more, that's all required of heaven. And when on thee for pay I call, which is but 4 for 7, keep nothing back, but pay it all, it is not hid from heaven. Remember hence the sentence past, the truth in scriptures given, last shall be first, and first be last, in time and earth and heaven. Farewell to Francis, George Moses Horton. Farewell, if ne'er I see thee more, the distant calls my flight and peal, I shall not less thy grace adore, so friend, for ever fare thee well. Farewell, for ever did I say, would never more thy face to see, and take the last fond look today, and still tomorrow think of me. Farewell, alas the tragic sound, as many a tender bosom torn, while desolation spread around, deserted friendship left to mourn. Farewell, awakes the sleeping tear, a dormant rill from sorrow's eye, expressed in one by nature dear, whose bosom heaves the leaden sigh. Farewell is but departure's tale, and fond association ends, and fate expends a lofty sail to show the distant flight of friends. Alas, and if we sure must part, fair separated long to dwell, I leave thee with a broken heart, so friend for ever fare thee well. I leave thee, but forget thee never, words cannot my feeling tell, fare thee well, and if for ever, still for ever fare thee well. George Moses Horton, myself, by George Moses Horton. I feel myself in need of the inspiring strains of ancient lore, my heart to lift, my empty mind to feed, and all the world explore. I know that I am old, never can recover what is past, but for the future may some light unfold and soar from ages blast. I feel resolved to try, my wish to prove, my calling to pursue, I mount up from the earth into the sky to show what heaven can do. My genius from a boy is flooded like a bird within my heart, I could not thus confine the powers employ, impatient to depart. She like a restless bird would spread her wings, a power to be unfurled, let her songs be loudly heard, and dart from world to world. Heavenly Love, by George Moses Horton. Eternal spring of boundless grace, that lifts the soul above, where God the Son unveils his face and shows that heaven is love. Love that revolves through endless years, love that can never pall, love which excludes the gloom of fears, love whom God is all. Love which can ransom every slave, and set the prisoner free, glide the dark hours of the grave, and still the raging sea. Let but the partial smile of heaven upon the bosom play, mystic sound of sins forgiven can waft the soul away. A pilgrim spirit showers love, often soar on high, languish from this dim earth to move, and leave the flesh to die. Sing, O my soul, rise up and run, and leave this clay behind, by swift flight beyond the sun, not wealth and tents confined. Imploring to be resigned at death, by George Moses Horton. Let me die and not tremble at death, but smile at the close of my day, and vent the flight of my breath, like a bird of morning in May, go chanting away. Let me die without fear of the dead, nor house my social dismay, and faith's pillow under my head, with defiance the mortal decay, go chanting away. Let me die like a son of the brave, and martial distinction display, nor shrink from a thought of the grave, no, but with a smile from the clay, go chanting away. Let me die glad, regardless of pain, no pain to this world to betray, and the spirit cut loose from its chain, so aloof in the flesh to delay, go chanting away. Let me die, and my worst foe forgive, when there fails the last vital ray, since I have but a moment to live. Let me, when the last debt I pay, go chanting away. Love, by George Moses Horton. Whilst tracing her visage a sinking emotion, for no other damsel so wondrous I see, her looks are so pleasing, her charms so amazing, I think of no other my true love but we. Of heart-burning rapture I gaze on her beauty, and fly like a bird to the boughs of a tree. Her looks are so pleasing, her charms so amazing, I fancy no other my true love but we. Was often the way I think, and I wonder, why cannot a maid with a lover agree? Her looks are so pleasing, her charms so amazing, I pine for no other my true love but we. I'd fly from the thrones with a heart full of sorrow, return, pretty damsel, and smile on me. By every endeavour I'll try you forever, and languish until I'm fancied by we. Man at Talk, by George Moses Horton. Blown up with painful care and hard to light, a glimmering talk blown in a moment out, suspended by a web and angler's bait, floating at stake along a stream of change. Snatched from its hook by the fish of poverty, a silent cavern is his last abode, the king's repository veiled with gloom, the ambush of a thousand others boat, the couch of hollow bones, the grave's asylum, the brave's retreat and end of every care. Meditation on a cold, dark, and rainy night, by George Moses Horton. Sweet on the housetop falls the gentle shower, when yet black darkness crowns the silent hour, when shrill the owlet pours her hollow tone, like some lost child sequestered and alone, and whilst bewildering wisp begins to flare, and Philomela breathes her dulcet air. 'Tis sweet to listen to her nightly tune, deprived of starlight or the smiling moon. When deadly winds sweep around the rural shed, and tell of strangers lost without a bed, from sympathy and yokes the dolorous lay, and pleasure steals and sorrow's gloom away, till frosting summons bids my eyes to close. And smiling visions open to repose, still on my soothing couch I lie at ease, still around my chamber flows the whistling breeze, still in the chain of sleep I lie confined, for all the threatening ills of life resigned, regardless of warning elf of night. A phantom's break on my immortal sight, where trump of morning bids my slumbers end, while from a flood of rest as straight as scant, when on a busy world I cast my eyes and think of nightly slumbers with surprise. Memory, by George Moses Horton. Sweet memory, like a pleasing dream, still lends a dull and feeble ray, for ages with a vestiged hems and beauty's traces worn away, and pleasure with a harps unstrung, yet silent to be heard no more, or leaves them on the willow sung, and pastime grief forever o'er. Still back and smiles for glory steals, evening dew drops from mine eyes, a twilight bursting from her wheels, askance and bids oblivion fly. Memory, where bush bewails the bloom, designed to fade, no, never, never, will stamp a vestige on the tomb, and with immortal life forever. When youth's bright sun has once declined and bid his smiling day expire, memory by talk steals up behind and sets thy hidden stars on fire. On Death, by George Moses Horton. Deceitful warm, but undermines the clay, which styly steals the thoughtless soul away, pervading neighborhoods with sad surprise, like sudden storms of wind and thunder rise. The sounding death watch lurks within the wall, away some unsuspecting soul to call. The panting willow drops the waving head, and sighing suffice whisper of the dead. Methinks I hear the doleful midnight kneel, some parting spirit bids the world farewell. The taper burns as conscious of distress, and seems to show the living number less. Must the loved daughter from far apart, and grieve for one who lies so near her heart? And must she for the fatal loss bemoan, or faint to hear his last departing groan? Methinks I see him speechless gaze the while, and on her drop his last parental smile, with gushing tears clouding his humid eyes, the last pulse beats, and in her arms he dies. With pallid cheeks she lingers around his briar, and heaves a farewell sigh with every tear. With sorrow she consigns him to the dust, and silent owns the fatal sentence just. Still a sequestered mother seems to weep, and spurns the balm with constitutes asleep. Her plaintive murmurs flout upon the gale, and almost make the stubborn rocks bewail. Oh, what is like the awful preach of death, whose fatal stroke conveys the creature's breath? It bids the voice of desolation roll, and strikes the deepest awe within the bravest soul. On Spring, by George Moses Horton. Hail, thou auspicious vernal dawn! Ye birds proclaim the winter's gone, ye warbling minstrels sing. Pour forth your tribute as ye rise, and thus salute the fragrant skies, the pleasing smiles of spring. Coo sweetly o'er harmless dove, amid the maid no longer rove, in cold vernal vales. Let music rise from the Vitan, as winter flies before the song, which floats on gentle gales. Your frozen streams dissolve and flow along the valley, sweet and slow. Their wasted fields be gay, your dropping forests bloom on high, and raise your branches to the sky, and thus your charms display. A world of feet for vital source, the torpid insects feel their force, which all with life supplies. Gardens and orchards richly bloom and send a gale of sweet perfume to invite them as they rise. Near where the crystal waters glide, the male of Bertha's courts is bright and twitters on the spray, and mounts upon his active wing to the bounty of a spring, the lavish pomp of May. Inspiring month of youthful love, oft we in the peaceful grove sway the flowery plum, or sit beneath a sylvan shade, where branches wave above the head and smile on every bloom. Excited month, and word gone, may virtue when begin the dawn of an eternal spring, may raptures kindle on my tongue, and start a new eternal song, that ne'er should cease to ring. On the Consequences of Happy Marriages, by George Moses Horton. Hail, happy pair from whom such raptures rise, on my gaze of pleasure and surprise. The bright race the gloom of strife is driven, for the smiles of mute love are heaven. Thrice happy pair, no earthly joys excel the peaceful state, where constant pleasures dwell, which cheer the mind and elevate the soul, whilst discord sings the benefits of control. The blaze of zeal extends from breast to breast, while heaven supplies each innocent request, and lo, what fond regard their smiles reveal, attractive as the magnet to the steel. The peaceful life is all content and ease, with delight each other strive to please, each other's charms they only can admire, whose bosoms burn with pure connubial fire. The indelible vestige of unblemished love must hence a guide to generations prove, through virtuous partners mould and the tomb, where light may shine in ages yet to come. With grateful tears the well-spent day shall close, when death like evening calls them to repose, and mystic smiles may break from deep disguise, like vespers talk transpiring in the skies. Like constellations still the works may shine, in virtue's unextinguished blaze divine. Happy are they whose racial end the same, sweeter than adores is the virtue's name. Such is the transcript of unfading grace, a flickering lustre on a future race. Virtues on this line delight to treat, magnify the honours of the dead. But like a phoenix did not burn in vain, incinerated to revive again. From which exalted urn young love shall rise, exulting from a funeral sacrifice. On the Conversation of a Sister, by George Moses Horton. 'Tis the voice of my sister at home, resigned to the treasures above, inviting the strangers to come and feast at the banquet of love. 'Tis the spirit cut loose from its chain, 'tis the voice of a culprit forgiven, restored from a prison of pain, the sound of a concert from heaven. 'Tis a beam from the regions of light, a touch of beatific fire, a spirit exulting for flight, with strong and impatient desire. 'Tis a drop from the ocean of love, a foretaste of pleasures to come, distilled from the fountain above, the joy which awaits her at home. On the Death of an Infant, by George Moses Horton. Blessed babe, it at length has withdrawn the self, hath rocked it to sleep. With angelic smile it is gone, and left a sad parent to weep. It soars from the ocean of pain, and breezes of precious perfume. Or be not discouraged when death is but gain, the triumph of life from the tomb. With pleasure I afforded my own, and smiled on its infallible charms. But some mystic bird like an eagle came down, and snatched it away from my arms. Blessed babe, it descends into heaven, it mounts with delight at the call, and flies to the bosom from whence it was given, the parent and patron of all. On the Death of Rebecca, by George Moses Horton. For delicate blossom, where short races ended, the sample of virtue and prize of the brave. No more were beauties by mortals attended, were now but food for the worms in the grave. Who had gone to the tomb, and so there's no returning, left us behind in the veil of suspense. And vain to the dust to be following morning, the same doleful trump will soon call us all hence. And view we now launched on eternity's ocean, the soul how it smiles as it floats on the wave. It smiles as if filled with softest emotion, but looks not behind in the frowns of the grave. The messenger came from afar to relieve thee, and this lonesome valley no more shalt thou roam. Bright serfs now stand on the banks to receive thee, and cry, Happy stranger, thou art welcome at home. Thou art gone to a feast, and the friends are bewailing, Oh, death's a song to the poor ransomed slave. Away with bright visions the spirit goes sailing, and leaves the frail body to rest in the grave. Rebecca is free from the pains of oppression, no friends could prevail with her longer to stay. She smiles on the fields of eternal fruition, whilst death like a bridegroom attends her away. She's gone in the whirlwind, yourselves attend her, for Jordan's cold torrent and mental may leave. She soars with a chariot, no earth holds beneath her, resigned in a shroud to a peaceable grave. On the Evening and Morning, by George Moses Horton. When evening bids the sun to rest retire, unwearied ever sets her lamps on fire. Lit by one talk, each supplied in turn, while the candles in the convict burn. The nighthawk now with his nocturnal tone wakes up when all the oats begin to moan, or he from day wails the dismal song, whilst in the air the Mephios play along. And the silver queen begins to rise, spread her glowing mantle in the skies. The smiling chambers of the east, the eye to a resplendent feast. What joy is this unto the rustic swain, who from the mounts surveys the moonlit plain, or that the spirit of a dauntless pen controls his fleecy train and leads the van? Or pensive muses on the water's side, which purling doe for green meanders glide, with watchful care he broods his heart away, till might is swallowed in the flood of day. Then the first cheese to play, that moved so fleet, and spectres from the murky groves retreat. A prowling wolf withdraws, which bolts are bold, and bleating flocks may venture from the fold. The nighthawk's din deserts the shepherd's ear, succeeded by the huntman's trumpet clear. Or come the hyena, start the morning chase, the ancient goddess of hunting race. A rower smiles adown the mountain's brow, the pageant hums, delighted at his plough, and lo, the dairy maid salutes a bounteous cow. On the Poetic Muse, George Moses Horton. Far, far above this world he saw, on almost nature loose, aerial regions to explore with his ambitious muse. The towering force with pinions rise upon the gales of song, that reft me through the mental skies with music on my tongue. A muse is all in mystic fire, which kindles in my breast, to scenes remote she doth aspire, as never yet expressed. Wrapped in the dust she scorns to lie, caught by new charms away, nor will she e'er refuse to try such wonders to survey. Such the quiet bliss of soul, when in some calm retreat the pensive thoughts like streamlets roll and render silence sweet. And when the vain tumultuous crowd shakes comfort from her mind, and uses scans above a cloud and leaves the noise behind. With vivid flight she mounts on high above a dusky maze, and with a perspicacious eye doth far above nature gaze. On the silence of a young lady, George Moses Horton. A heartless dove, moaned in the skies, spread their soft wing upon the gale, on their sacred pinions rise, nor brood with silence in the vale. Breathe on the air the plaintive note, which oft has filled the lonesome grove, and let the melting ditty float with dirge of long-lamented love. Go softly to the silent ear, make the floods of grief to roll, and cause by love a sleeping tear to wake with sorrow from the soul. Is it the loss of pleasures past that makes thee droop thy sounding wing, as wintry rough in clement blasts with the tragic voice to sing? Is because the fragrant breeze along the sky forbears to flow, nor is the slow amidst the trees, whilst all the valleys frown below? Why should the throne thy soul alarm, and tear thy pleasures from thy breast, or the smiles of thy charm and rob thee of thy peaceful rest? Perhaps thy sleeping love may wake, and hear thy peninsula tone, and suffer not thy heart to break, nor let the prince's grief alone. Perhaps his pity may return, with equal feeling from the heart, and breast with breast together burn, never, no, never more to part. Never till death's resistless blow, whose call the dearest must obey, and twain together we may go, and thus together dwell for aye. Say to the suitor, come away, nor break the knot which love has tied, nor to the world thy trust betray, and fly forever from thy bride. On the Truth of the Saviour, by George Moses Horton. In John the Baptist did know who Christ the Lord could be, and bade his own disciples go the stranger went to see. They said, art thou one of whom 'twas written long before? Is there another still to come who will all things restore? This is enough for to name, God tell him what is done. Behold the feeble, weak and lame with strength rise up and run. This is enough, the blind now see, the dumb Hosanna sing. Devils far from his presence flee as shades from morning's wing. See the distressed, all bathed in tears, prostrate before him fall. Emmanuel speaks and Lazarus hears, the dead obeys his call. This is enough, the fig tree dies, and wither at his throne. Nature her God must recognize and drops a flowery crown. At his command the fish increase, and loaves are barely swell. Ye hungry eat and hold your peace, and find a remnant still. At his command the water blushed, and all was turned to wine, and in redundance flowed afresh, and owned its God divine. Behold the storms at his rebuke, all calm upon the sea. Or can we for another look, where none can work as he? This is enough, it must be God, from whom the plagues are driven, to his command the mountains nod, and all the host of heaven. On Winter, by George Moses Horton. When smiling summer's charms are past, the voice of music dies, and winter pours his chilling blast from rough, clement skies. A pensive dove shuts up her throat, the larks forbear to soar, or raise one sweet delightful note which charmed the ear before. The screech owl peals a shivering tone upon the brink of night, as some sequestered child unknown which feared to come in sight. The cattle all desert the field, and eager seek the glades of naked trees at once that yield their sweet and pleasant shades. The humming insects all are still, the beetles rise no more. The constant tinkling of the bell along the heath is o'er. Stern Boreas hurls each piercing gale with snow-clad wings alone, discharging volleys mixed of hail which chill the breeze of song. While all the southern windows close, when spicy breezes roll, the herbage sinks in sad repose, and winter sweeps the whole. As after youth old age comes on, and brings the frost of time, our vigour has withdrawn, we shed the rose of prime. Alas, how quick it is the case, sky and youth is grown, how soon it runs its morning race, beauty's sun goes down. The autumn of declining years must blanch a father's head, encumbering with a lot of cares when youthful charms have fled. Pride in Heaven, by George Moses Horton. On heaven's infernal plain, where hostile rage ambition first begun, the arch-rebel strove himself to reign, take Jehovah's throne. Swift to the flight the Seraphin on floods of pride were seen to swim, and bodify the power supreme, and thus their court his own. High on a dome of state, from azure fields he cast a staring eye, Licentious strains his magazines await, at whose command they fly. The gloom excludes celestial charms, and all the angels rush to arms. Heaven shakes beneath the vast alarms, and earth begins to sigh. Eternal mountains move, and sevenfold thunders rock the hills below, whilst day throngs desert the worlds above, beneath Jehovah's brow. O Lucifer, the morning sun, to glut their pride, what hast thou done? Sing, O ye heavens, the plague is gone, and weep, O earth, for woe. Creation felt the fall, and trembling nature heaved a dismal groan, for that rebellion brought her into thrall, she must her fate bemoan. See angels fall no more to rise, live warm but never dies, no ear of grace can hear their cries, and hoarse lamenting tone. Weak nature lay exposed, and felt the wound and pleasing hate concealed, and void of fear the secret charm disclosed, which every ill revealed. And when struck through every vein, every creature felt the pain, and in the fire a lamb was slain, by which the wound was healed. Prosperity, by George Moses Horton. Come, for queen of every creature, nature calls thee to her arms. Love sits gay on every feature, teeming with 1,000 charms. Meet me mid the wreathing boughs, greet me in the citron grove, where I saw the bell of flowers dealing with the blooms of love. Hark, the lowly dove of Sharon bids thee rise and come away, from vale both dry and barren, come to one where life is gay. Come, the queen of all the forest, fair Feronia, mountain glee, lovelier than the garden florist, the goddess of the bee. Come, stercolous and with pleasure, fertilize the teeming field, from thy straw, dissolved at leisure, bid the lea her bounty yield. Come, thou queen of every creature, nature calls thee to her arms, love sits gay on every feature, teeming with 1,000 charms. Recent appearance of a lady, by George Moses Horton. The joy of meeting one so fair inspires the present stream of song, a bonny belle that few excel, and one with whom I few compare, out of sight so long. It is a cause of much delight when lads and lasses meet again, but bonny belle no long to dwell, for soon upon the wing of flight raced away in pain. With long hid form I smile to trace a star merging out of gloom, exalted belle whose powers impel, and with a heart by every grace, the queen of every bloom. Long out of sight, but still in mind, eternal memory holds its grasp. Still, bonny belle, 'tis sweet to tell of thee, that I am left behind in sorrow's lonely clasp. Regret for the departure of friends, by George Moses Horton. A smoke from a volcano soars in the air, the soul of man discontents moans from a sigh. Exalted as to heaven in mystical prayer, invoking that love which forbids him to die. Sweet hope, lovely passion, my grief ever chase, and scatter the gloom which veils pleasure's bright ray. Or lend me my wings, and assist me to trace the flight of my fair one when gone far away. And the dim star of pleasure sits glimmering alone, the planet of beauty on life's dreary shore. The fair bird of fancy forever is flown on pinions of haste to the herd of no more. Hope, tell me, dear passion, thou wilt not forget, the flourish is still sweetly and blossom as gay, expelling like morning the gloom of regret, and the lark of affection is gone far away. If hurried into some unchangeable clime, where oceans of pleasure continually roll, far, far from the limited borders of time, the total division of body and soul. Hope, tell me, dear passion, which must earth survive, that love will be sweeter than nature is our, and still without pain for eternal life, the triumph of pleasure when time is no more. O love, when the daylight of pleasure shall close, and vesper of death break on life's dusky even, and the faint sun of time set in peace as it rose, and eternity open the morning in heaven. Then hope, lovely passion, thy talk shall expire, effusing on nature life's last feeble ray. Of a night made of love sets a taper on fire, to cut smiling beauty from time far away. Rosabella, by George Moses Horton. Both an angel's tongue, as in a fiery congregation's all. 'Tis but a brazen bell that I have rung, and I to nothing fall. My theme's but an idle air, if Rosabella is not there. Why in thunder rave through the blaze of erratic flowers? Others I move, but fail myself to self with my declaiming powers. I sink, alas, I know not where, if Rosabella is not there. I point out the way and closely circumscribe the path to heaven, upon my melting prayer without delay, and all my sins forgiven. I sink into the gloom despair, if Rosabella is not there. On may mountains move, make valleys vocal with my song. I'm vain without a stream of mystic love, for my heart is wrong. I've laid myself a cruel snare, if Rosabella is not there. From the bleak stars I fly, proclaiming heaven from land to land, or cross the seas and reach the distant shores, with Gothic groups to stand. Or let me of myself beware, if Rosabella is not there. Our classic books must fail, and with a flowery tongues to ashes burn, and not one groat immortal wit avail upon his last return, with the creature's faithful prayer, but Rosabella may beware. The spotless Maid was born, the babe of heaven, it cannot be defied. The soul is dead and in a state forlorn, on which she has not smiled. Vain are the virgin and the fair, if Rosabella be not there. Another pleasures tire, mortal glories fade to gloom no more. She with wings of truth augments the fire and wails the saw. All else must die, for good and wise, Rosabella never dies. The creditor to his proud debtor, George Moses Horton. How trodden Johnny strut and boast, but think of what your favours cost. Your crowning days are short at most, and bloom but soon to fade. Surely you could not stand so wide, if strictly to the bottom tried, when to blow your plumb aside, if half your debts were paid. And boast and bear the crack, with a sheriff at your back, who's there for dandy Jack, my jolly fop, my Joe. A blue smoke from where seeker flies, offensive to my nose and eyes. When most of people would be wise, your presence to evade. Your pocket jingles loud with cash, and thus you cut a foppish dash. But alas, dear boy, you would be trash if your accounts were paid. Then boast and beer the crack, with a sheriff at your back, who's there for dandy Jack, my jolly fop, my Joe. My duck, but boots would look as bright, had you in justice served me right. Like you I then could step as light before a flaunting maid. As nicely could I clear my throat, and to my ties my eyes devote, and leave you bare without that coat which you have not paid. Then boast and bear the crack, with a sheriff at your back, who's there for dandy Jack, my folly fop, my Joe. I to toss myself with scornful air to a poor man pay no care. I could rock cross-legged on my chair within the cloister shade. I'd gird my neck with a light cravat, and crooning wear my bell-crowned hat. But away my down would fly at vet, if once my debts were paid. Boast and bear the crack, with a sheriff at your back, who's there for dandy Jack, my jolly fop, my Joe. The Dirge, George Moses Horton. Hast forgone and left me with a false but strictly true? Fly far away without delay. Adieu, my love, adieu. Hast forgone and left me hence to seek another bride? I must be still, for hast thy will, my word is free and wide. When your heads were told me ere I drunk the bitter cup, I could with shame not bear the blame, and freely give thee up. I am left to ponder, now in depth of sorrow's gloom, like some dull spirit in dead of night bewailing our tomb. Swiftly fly and welcome, as the fate of fools the roof, of whom I know well augurs woo without the stream of love. A constant love is wanting, pleasure has not long to dwell. I view my fate, alas, too late, so partner, very well. But, my love, remember, hence we meet not face to face, my heart shall ache, my soul shall quake, a wretch of all disgrace. The Eye of Love, George Moses Horton. And all his storytelling eye has more expression than a tongue, and one with heart exalted sigh at once the peal of love is rung. And with soft eyelids fall a tear of doubting fondness as we part, a stream is from a course sincere, and issue from a melting heart. What shall a fluttering pulse restrain, the life forge beating from a soul? The power of hate is slain, and love permits no control. When said at hand, I wish we well, her eye declared it must be true, and every sentence seemed to tell the tale of sorrow told by few. When low she bowed and wheeled aside, I saw blushing temples fade. Her smiles were sunk in sorrow's tide, but love was in her eye betrayed. The Fate of an Innocent Dog, by George Moses Horton. When Tiger left his native yard, he did not many ills regard, a fleet and harmless cure. Indeed he was a trusty dog, did not through the pastures prog. The grazing flocks to stir, poor dog, the grazing flocks to stir. He through field by chance was led, in quest of game not far ahead, and made an active leap, when all at once alarmed he spied a creature weltering on his side. A deadly wounded sheep, alas, a deadly wounded sheep. He there was filled with sudden fear, apprised of lurking danger near, and where he left his trail, indeed he was afraid to yelp, nor could he grant the creature help, but wheeled and dropped his tail, poor dog, but wheeled and dropped his tail. It was his pastime, pride and fun, at morn the nimble hare to run, and Frost was on the grass returning home, who should he meet? There was owner coming fleet, who scorned to let him pass, alas, who scorned to let him pass. Tiger could but his bristles raise, a surely complimentary pace, insulted shows his wrath, returns a just defensive growl, and dares not turn aside to prowl, and onward keeps the path, poor dog, and onward keeps the path. The raging owner found the brood, but could afford it no recruit, nor raised it up to stand. 'Twas mangled by some other dogs, a set of detrimental rouges, raised up at no command, alas, raised up at no command. Sagacious Tiger left his box, all the blame of other dogs. With powder, fire, and ball, they killed the poor, unlawful game, then came back and eat the same. But Tiger paid for all, poor dog, but Tiger paid for all. Every harmless dog beware, lest he be taken in the snare, and scorn such fields to roam. A creature may be fraught with grace, and suffer for violent base, by straggling off from home, alas, by straggling off from home. The blood of creatures oft is spilled, but I without a shade of guilt. Look out or choose to roam, whilst up and down the world ye place. For pleasure, man in danger strays, without a friend from home, alas, without a friend from home. The fearful traveller in the haunted castle, by George Moses Horton. Oft do I hear those windows ope, and shut with dread surprise, and spirits murmur as they grope, but break not on the ice. Still fancy spies the winding sheet, the phantom in the shroud, and bids the pulse of horror beat throughout my ears aloud. Some unknown finger thumbs the door from one of faltering voice, that someone seems to walk the floor with an alarming noise. A drum of horror holds a sound which will not let me sleep, and ghastly breezes float around and hidden goblins creep. Methinks I hear some constant groan within of all the dead, while trembling was I lie alone upon this restless bed. At length the blaze of morning broke on my impatient view, and through for fancy told the joke and bade the night adieu. 'Twas but the noise of prowling rats, that ran with all their speed, pursued in haste by hungry cats, which on vermin feed. Was creatures crumbling of a cheese, which on the table lay, some cats, too quick to roofs to seize, with rumbling lost their prey. Was man as often his own elf, who makes the night his ghost, and shrinks with horror from himself, which is to fear the most. The cat crowed as she held her prey, which shrieked with all its might, and drove she balm of sleep away throughout the livelong night. The Graduate Leaving College, by George Moses Horton. What summons do I hear? The morning peal departures near. My eyes let fall a friendly tear, and bid this place farewell. Attending servants come, the carriage reels like thunder's roar, to bear the pensive seniors home, here to be seen no more. Past one more transient night, the morning sweeps the college clean. A graduate takes his last long flight, the morn college is seen. The bee which courts the flower must with some pain itself employ, and then fly at the day's last hour home to its heath of joy. The Happy Bird's Nest, by George Moses Horton. On my cottage falls a placid shower, when evening calls the labourer home to rest, when glad the bee deserts the humid flower, or when the bird assumes a peaceful nest. When sable shadows grow unshapely tall, and souls resplendent wheel descants the west, when nearer respiration tolls for all, and Hesper smiles upon the linnet's nest. O'er the mountain bounds the fair gazelle, the night bird tells the daily parting jest. She gladly leaves her melancholy dell, and spreads her pinions on the linnet's nest. Then harmless Dian spreads her lucid sail, and glides forever with a silver crest, bidding the watchful birds to pour her tale, and cheer the happy linnet on her nest. Thus may some guardian angel be her light, o'er thy tomb, but departed genius, rest, whilst thou shalt take thy long eternal flight, leave some faithful bird to guard thy nest. The Lover's Farewell, by George Moses Horton. And wilt thou, love, my soul display, and all my secret thoughts betray? I strove but could not hold thee fast, my advice offered thee at last. A favourite daughter of the dawn, on love's mild breeze will soon be gone. I strove but could not cease to laugh, nor from my heart the weight remove. And wilt thou, love, my soul beguile, and gild thy farewell with a smile? Thy soft affection answers nigh, beauty wings my heart away. I steal on tiptoe from these bowers, spangled with 1,000 flowers. I sigh, yet leave them all behind, to gain the object of my mind. And wilt thou, love, command my soul, and lift me with a light control? Adieu to all the blooms of May, farewell, I fly with love away. I leave my parents here behind, and all my friends to love resigned. It is grief to go, but death to stay, farewell, I'm gone with love away. The Musical Chamber, George Moses Horton. I trust that my friends will remember, whilst ivies my pleasures display. Resort to my musical chamber, where all crowned desert and May. Resort to this chamber at leisure, attended by night and by day, to feast on the dainties of pleasure, which cannot be stinted in May. This place is both pleasing and moral, a chamber both lovely and gay, in the shade of a never-fading laurel, whose grace in December is May. Abounding with every fine story, while time passes hurrying away, this place is a banquet of glory, which rings with the ditties of May. A chamber of Chatham and Dolly, a place of a comical play, give place unto love's fine folly, the birds and sweet flowers of May. Here Venus attends with the lover, here Flora the suitors betray, and uncommon secrets discover, which break from the bosom of May. Here ever young Hebe sits smiling, wonders of youth to portray, excluding out age from defiling the lads and the lassies of May. Call violet stranger 1 minute, your joy will reward your delay. Come, feast with lark and the linnet, and drink of the waters of May. Walk in, little mistress, be steady, you welcome a visit to pay. All things in the chamber are ready, resolved to be married in May. The Powers of Love, by George Moses Horton. It lifts a poor man from his cell, to fortune's brighter clove. Its mighty sway few can tell, but envious foes to conquer's ill. There's nothing half like love. Your very strangers void of rest, who late through life have strove, like the late bird which seeks its nest, as you would hence in truth be blessed, light on the bough of love. Arrogant Thlevian void of friends, constrained for wilds to rove, on this his safety wholly depends, one faithful smile his trouble ends, a smile of constant love. Thus did the captured wretch complain, imploring heaven above, till one with sympathetic pain flew to his arms and broke the chain, and grief took flight from love. Let clouds of danger rise and roar, and hope's thin pillars move. If storms behind and death before, or grant me this, I crave no more, there's nothing half like love. When nature wakes, soft pity's cool, the hawk deserts the dove, compassion melts the creature through, with palpitating felt by few, wrecking throbs of love. Let surely discord take its flight on wedlock's peaceful grove, while union breaks the arm of fight, with darkness swallowed up in light, or what is there like love? The Retreat from Moscow by George Moses Horton. Said Moscow, for fate do I see, fire, fire, and the city all cry, like quails from the eagle all flee, escape in a moment or die. It looks like the battle of Troy, the storm rises higher and higher, the scenes of destruction all hearts must annoy, the whirlwinds, the smoke, and the fire. A dread conflagration roars forth, auguring in the rage of the wind, which blows it from south unto north, and leaves but the embers behind. It looks like Gomorrah, the flames moving still nigher and nigher, aloud from all quarters the people proclaim the whirlwinds of smoke and the fire. A dead fumigation of smells, the blue circle darkens the air, with tones as the pealing of bells swell to the brave and the fair. O Moscow, the city of grace, consigned to a dread burning pyre, from morning to evening with sorrow I trace the wild winds, the smoke and the fire. The dogs in the kennel howl, ever takes flight with the ox, a pale on the wing is the foal, the pigeon deserting a box. With a heart full of pain in the night, mid hillocks and bogs I retire, through lone deadly valleys I steer by its light, a wild storm with smoke and the fire. For far the crash breaks on my ear, the stars glimmer dull in the sky, the shrieks of the woman I hear, the fall of the kingdom is nigh. Heaven, when earth is no more, and all things in nature expire, may I thus, with safety, keep distant before the whirlwinds, the smoke, and the fire. A rising sun, George Moses Horton. The king of day rides on to give a blessed morning birth. On wheels of glory moves his throne, whose light adorns the earth. And once his limpid maid has the imperial course begun, the lark deserts the dusky glade and soars to meet the sun. Up from the orient deep, Aurora mounts without delay, with brooms of light the plains to sweep and purge the gloom away. Ere ghostly scenes give way, our king is coming now in sight, being the diadem of day, whose crest expels the night. Was real like a bird's retreat to groves, and hide from every eye. Our slumbering dust will rise and meet its morning in the sky. The immaterial sun now hid within imperial gloom, will break forth on a brighter throne and call us from the tomb. The setting sun by George Moses Horton. 'Tis sweet to trace the setting sun, we're blushing down the west. When his diurnal rays is run, the traveller stops the gloom to shun, and lodges bones to rest. Far from the eye he seeks a pace, that still throws back his light, from oceans of resplendent grace, when sleeping whisper paints a face, bids the sun good night. To those who spear in fields by night, my thoughts and visions stray, like spirits stealing into light, from gloom upon the wing of flight, soaring from time away. Our eagle with his pinions furled, takes his departing peep, and hails the occidental world, so round whose base the globes are whirled, whilst they creatures sleep. The slaves complained, George Moses Horton, am I sadly cast aside, or misfortune's rugged tide, that the world my pains deride for ever? Must I dwell in slavery's night, and all pleasure take its flight far beyond my feeble sight for ever? Worst of all, must hope grow dim, and without her cheering beam, rather let me sleep and dream for ever. Something still my heart surveys, groping through this dreary maze. Is it hope? Then burn and blaze for ever. Leave me not a wretch confined, altogether lame and blind, and to gross despair consigned for ever. Heaven, in whom can I confide? Canst thou not for all provide? Condescend to be my guide for ever. And when this transient life shall end, or may some kind eternal friend bid me from servitude descend for ever. The Swan by George Moses Horton. The swan which boasted mid the tide, whose nest was guarded by the wave, floated for pleasure till she died, and sunk beneath the flood to lave. The bird of fashion drops the wing, where rosebud now declines to bloom. The gentle breezes of the spring no longer waft a sweet perfume. Fair beauty with those lovely eyes, live along her violet stream. Proud fortune leaves her throne, and flies from pleasure as a flattering dream. The eagle of exalted fame, which spreads his pinions far to sail, struggled to fan his dying flame, till pleasure paled in every gale. Gaudy Mammon's thoughted gain, whose plumes faded once so gay, languishes mid a flowery train, whilst pleasure flies like fumes away. Vain pleasures, how short to last, like leaves which quick to ashes burn, which kind from slightest blast, and slight to nothing hence return. The Traveller, George Moses Horton. 'Tis sweet to think of home, and from my native clime, where lonely valleys pensive I roam, with rocks and hills where waters roll sublime, 'tis sweet to think of home. A retrospective gaze bonds on a dark horizon far behind, at the stars of homely pleasures blaze and glimmer on my mind. Then pealing thunders roll, and ruffian winds howl, threatening a life of gloom, to heaven's kind hand I then commit the whole, and smile to think of home. But she's my pensive soul, to languish at departure's gloomy shrine, so look on front and hail with joyful goal, the pleasure teeming line. When on the deep white sea I wander, sailing mid the swelling foam, tossed from the land by many a long decree, when I think of thee, I never shall forget the bygone pleasure of my native shore, until the sun of life appears to set, and pain is known no more. When nature seems to weep, and life hangs trembling o'er the watery tomb, hope lifts a peaceful sail to brave the deep, and bids me think of home. My favourite pigeon rest, nor on the plain of sorrow drop thy train, but on the bough of hope erect thy nest, till friends shall meet again. Though in the hermit's cell, where eager friends to cheer me fail to come, as a fire seems a joyless tale to tell, now thought is sweet but home. The Woodman and the Money Hunter, George Moses Horton. Through the rambles much we find, the bee trees burst with honey. Wild birds we tame of every kind, at once they seem to be resigned. And know but one that lags behind, there's nothing lacks but money. Woods afford as much supply, the opossum, coon, and cooney, where all are tame and venture nigh, regardless of the public eye. I know but one among them shy, there's nothing shy but money. She lies in the bankrupt shade, the cunning fox is funny. When thus the public debts are paid, deceitful cash is not afraid. The funds are hid for private trade, there's nothing paid but money. And let us roam the woods along, and drive the coon and cooney. Our lead is good, our powder strong, to shoot the pigeons as they throng, but sing no more the idle song, and pro the chase for money. To departing favourite, George Moses Horton. Or mayst you tire, but think of me, and word gone afar. Ever in life thy travels be, if tossed along the brackish sea, or borne upon the car. Or mayst you tire, I care not where thy name my theme shall be. Of thee in heart I shall thee wear, content my good or ill to share, if there to lodge with we. Or mayst you tire beyond the deep, and leave thy sister train, to roam the wilds where dangers leap, and leave affection sad to weep in bitterness and pain. Or mayst we tire, and yet be glad, to leave me thus alone, lamenting and bewailing sad. Farewell, thy sunk deluded lad may rise on thou art gone. To Catharine, George Moses Horton. I love thee as long as I live, whatever thy condition may be. What else but my life would I give that thou wastest partial to me? I love because thou art fair, and fancy no other beside. I languish thy pleasures to share, whatever my life may betide. I laugh if a news of vital beam grows dim on visage of cares, and trace back on time's rapid stream her beauty when sinking in years. Though nature no longer is gay with blooms which a simple adore, a virtue forbid me to say that Catharine is lovely no more. To Eliza, George Moses Horton. Eliza, tell the lover why, or what induced thee to deceive me. Fare well, away I fly, I shun the less, who thus will grieve me. Eliza, still thou art my song, although force I may forsake thee. Fare well, for I was wrong, to woo thee while another take thee. Eliza, pause and think a while, sweet lass, I shall forget thee never. Fare well, although I smile, I grieve to give thee up forever. Eliza, I shall think of thee, my heart shall ever twine about thee. Fare well, but think of me, compelled to live and die without thee. Fare well, and if forever, still forever, fare well. To the Gad Fly, George Moses Horton. Majestic instinct, from the royal hum, the fly's retreat, or stir before will come. The obedient plow-horse Maid, devout to fear, perform his task with joy when thou art near. As at the lion's dread alarming roar, in fear beasts will never wander more, lest unawares he should be seized away into the prowling monster fall a prey. Of silent pleasure often do I trace a fly upon the wing, of rapid pace, fugitive proclaims upon the wind, a death-bound sheriff is not far behind. Your thirsty flies beware, and ere approach, none the toiling animal encroach. Vigilant before you bustolate, the victim of a melancholy fate. Such as seems a caution of the once chased fly, whilst to the horse she dare not venture nigh. With useful Gad Fly traversing the field, which care of labouring animal to shield. Such is the eye of providential care, on good path of life for ever bear, whose guardian hand by day doth mortals keep, and gently lays them down at night to sleep. A mortal guard shall ever pleasures grieve, like Noah's dove, will all the creature leave, and now never, never, whilst on earth I stay, and after death, and fly with me away. True Friendship, by George Moses Horton. Friendship, or balm for every ill, I must aspire to be, as breezes bid the heart be still, wherein is sweet the patience pill, and set the prisoner free. Friendship is the softest soul, which feels another's pain, must with equal sight condole, while sympathetic streamlets roll, which nothing can restrain. Not to be nominated smart, with mortals to be seen, she does not thus the gifts impart, aid is from a feeling heart, a principle within. And the lone stranger forced to roam, comes shivering to a door, at once he finds a welcome home, but talk of grace dispels his gloom, and bids him grope no more. Friendship was never known to fail the voice of need to hear, when ruthless ill so peace assail, and from her heart she draws the veil, and dries the falling tear. And dogs and devils snare in the fight, she hides and dwells alone, and friends and kindred disunite, with pity she surveys the right, and gives to each his own. Friendship has not a sister grace, her wonders to exceed. She's the queen of all her race, whose charms the stoutest must embrace, when in the veil of need. Friendship is but a feeling sigh, with sympathizing tear, constrained to flow till others dry, nor lets the needy soul pass by, nor scorns to see or hear.